Ultimate Game Preview. First-person shooters.
The first-person shooter is easily the industry's cash cow, but you wouldn't know it by the meager release schedule we endured in 2012. This year, things are looking up, with well over a dozen high-quality releases on the verge of gluing us to our couches for all-night frag sessions.
Aliens, Colonial Marines.
Gearbox has been on quite a roll of late, and it's looking to keep the momentum by bombarding with players with as many facehuggers and chest bursters as they can handle in this direct continuation of the Aliens movie franchise. Bolstered by asymmetric multiplayer modes which allow players to take both roles, it's looking to have more legs than a queen alien.
Crysis 3.
The Crysis franchise initially built its name upon its astounding visuals, and the pedigree lives on in Crysis 3. But it's much more than a pretty face. Taking place in an overgrown New York City underneath a biodome, expect the requisite superpowers being utilized courtesy of the nanosuit, as you attempt to wipe its confines of an alien scourge.
Same as the old world.
Sniper, Ghost Warrior 2.
As time goes on, video games seem to do one of two things: include every conceivable gameplay type in one release, or go completely niche. Ghost Warrior 2 chooses the latter, eschewing vehicle segments and run-and-gun aesthetics in favor of placing a single bullet between the eyes of the enemy. It's not the most robust game on this list, but it will have a strong appeal to a very specific audience.
Time to go!
BioShock Infinite.
It seems like it's been a long time coming, but BioShock Infinite is finally almost here. Taking place in a floating city called Columbia, you're summoned to the location to help locate a young girl who's gone missing. Incorporating an open world, tons of creative power-ups called elixirs, and that patented BioShock immersion. We'd be lying if we said it's not one of our most anticipated games of 2013, shooter or otherwise.
Give it to me!
Metro, Last Light.
Things aren't going too well for THQ right now, which has us wondering if this game has seen its last light for 2013. Considering it's almost complete, we have a hard time believing that some publisher won't pick it up if THQ is unable to deliver. Either way, you can cut the atmosphere in this game with a knife as you attempt to survive a Russian nuclear winter with all manner of mutations on the loose.
Dead Island, Riptide.
The first Dead Island literally came out of nowhere to become a cult hit, but the sequel dubbed Riptide isn't going to sneak up on anyone. Set in an open world overrun by animated corpses, Riptide picks up right after the conclusion of the first game, and allows for plenty of weapon fidgeting, role-playing elements, and drop-in, drop-out co-op insanity. It's perhaps a little too soon for a full-fledged sequel, but the developers have been forthcoming in stating that this is a mere side story on the way to Dead Island 2.
Battlefield 4.
Yeah, we realize that the game hasn't been officially announced for 2013 yet, but with EA putting beta codes inside Medal of Honor Warfighter, it's basically a done deal. BF4 should continue the series' legacy as the world's most popular multiplayer to feature vehicles. Now, if DICE can just get the single-player campaign into shape, it could have a shot at Call of Duty's crown.
Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 4.
Sure, it hasn't been announced either, but it will take an apocalypse like the Mayans could ever comprehend to keep Modern Warfare 4 from being released this November. And Infinity Ward is going to have its hands full trying to keep up with all the advancements Treyarch incorporated into Black Ops 2 in 2012. Will it utilize branching story paths? How about the Pick 10 system? Millions and millions of players want to know.
Arma 3.
Water is usually an afterthought in first-person shooters, but in Arma 3 it's one of the game's biggest new features. With scuba-based gunfights and the ability to use the coastline to your advantage, it's something that seems simple, yet genius. Arma 3 will retain the same rigid realism the series is known for, including a variety of stances to shoot from, and its fans wouldn't have it any other way.
Brothers in Arms, Furious 4.
Once known as a deathly serious World War II simulation, Brothers in Arms tried to place its tongue firmly in its cheek for Furious 4. And since fans reacted poorly to this new direction for the BIA brand, it will ultimately drop the name and come locked and loaded as a new IP. And what appears to be a satirical chase for Hitler by 4 off-kilter protagonists, it's already been mentioned that 4-player co-op is a go. And since eliminating the branding, Gearbox's Randy Pitchford says that all bets are off, and to prepare for the unexpected.
Destiny.
It seems like it's been forever since Bungie dropped the Halo franchise in favor of creating multi-platform games. And truth be told, it has been. Its replacement, 343 Industries, has already finished 2 games, so it would come as no surprise that 2013 will be the coming out party for its new MMO-inspired shooter, Destiny. With just this lonely screenshot released so far, prepare for the coming media barrage.
Dust 514.
More than just a standalone shooter, Dust 514 has a unique twist in that it ties in with the undyingly popular strategy space sim EVE Online. You see, when you're shooting enemies in the face, there's someone playing EVE Online that will have an influence on your next skirmish. It's a refreshing idea, but one that can also be fraught with issues, particularly considering Dust 514 is free to play. It's a tough balancing act to perfect.
Respawn shooter.
When the two heads of Infinity Ward left Activision and the Call of Duty franchise to start their own studio, there was much fanfare. It's almost 2 years later, and we've only seen 2 screenshots of the sci-fi shooter so far, but it stands to reason that 2013 will be its coming out party. With a pedigree like Call of Duty 4, we can't help but take notice, and we're equally intrigued by which platforms it will ultimately grace.
Rainbow Six Patriots.
The debut trailer for the next R6 certainly made us sit up and take notice, but it's been well over a year since then with little in the way of updates. But that's alright, because we've played every Rainbow Six that's ever been released, and we've rarely come away disappointed. Promising a more tactical bent and a grown-up story, it's looking to be a nice reprieve from the run-and-gun rank and file.
XCOM.
Fresh off its Game of the Year victory here on GT, the XCOM brand enjoyed a great 2012. But some folks may have forgotten that there's also a shooter on the way. The rub here is that rumors have been swirling that it may have switched to a third-person perspective. But until we get official confirmation, we're placing it here. If it even has half the magic of its strategy counterpart, it's certainly worth keeping an eye on.